Jake Allen is stellar once again, and Cole Caufield snipes his 5th goal of the season as he's chasing down the 50 goals as the Habs lose a tight one to the Minnesota Wild. But me and Jesse are here to break everything down for you. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to the post-game reaction of the Montreal Canadiens versus Minnesota Wild game on October 25th. But before we get into the recap, quick reminder, just a few seconds, 93% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed, and I know you guys have been loving the daily Montreal Canadiens content, and if you want to keep seeing that and be kept up to date on Habs news and game recaps every single day, hit that button, and me and Jesse got your back. Alright, Jesse, well, might as well just get into the game recap now. For me, that might have been the most frustrating game of the season. I know it was a very close game, 2-1 for most of it until the Joel Eriksson empty netter right at the end. But for me, it felt like, even though Montreal had some great stretches, for large chunks of this game, it felt like they were getting outworked.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, turnovers were the big difference in this. Minnesota was definitely working on the forecheck for sure. So that's it. It's just a couple plays. Our defense was showing a little bit of their inexperience, just kind of coming out of our defensive zone in the neutral zone. So that's really the big difference in this one. But I mean, the big killer besides just those turnovers was just the lack of production once again on that power play.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about inexperience from these defensemen. I mean, some key plays, potential turning points of the game. Well, one was definitely a turning point, that Kovacevic turnover in the neutral zone led to a 2-on-1 for Minnesota, and not just the turnover, Kovacevic let his man blow right by him again, hardly back-checked, and led to a Brandon Duhaime goal. That made it 2-1, which ended up being the game winner. Arbor Jackeye, as much as we all love him, we love X-Man, we love the Sheriff, he had, not his best game there tonight. He was really lacking discipline at times, got baited into penalties, namely the one later in the game. I believe it was him and Duhaime scrapping. There was a delayed penalty coming against Minnesota, and instead of Montreal coming out of it with a power play to get some much needed momentum, Arbor Jackeye popped him in the face and got a roughing call, and it ended up being a 4-on-4. So, like you said, turnovers and inexperience, but our power play didn't do us any favors. We went 0 for 3 again tonight, still without a single 5-on-4 power play goal. And I don't know what to say at this point, Jesse. I mean, like, we had some guys play really well, but what do you think is the key thing about the power play that needs fixing?
Well, that's it. It's just really we're losing momentum with it at this point in time. Instead of it being a benefit to us when we're not converting on that, we saw that was really the difference in this game. Special teams was the difference in this game today, as it was against the Stars once again. So we're going to need to make some adjustments. And I think that the way that you score on the power play, the best way to do it, what I want to see from Montreal, and they've been starting to do this a little bit more over the last couple games, but is really getting people in front of the net. And we know Gallagher, we saw him snipe the other night, but most of the time when he's going to score his goals, he's going to be right in front of the net. And I think we really need to get this player going just because he's so important for our team overall. So why not put your best player in front of the net on the power play? Also, what I want to see as well is, Wideman, he's not been playing poorly, but he hasn't been playing great either on the power play. So I would like to see a switch there. All respect to the man, but, coughing the puck up at the blue line in the offensive zone, taking some, an ill-advised penalty.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see a potential switch up with him for Gouli. Gouli taking his minutes on that first line of the power play. I just feel like he's got a little bit of that mobility that we're looking for, a little bit of that shiftiness. So I hope Martin St. Louis is listening right now, because I'd really like to see those two changes going forward.
I'm on board with you. I mean, Wideman did not look great tonight. Of course, that, like, as you mentioned, that ill-advised interference call as Montreal desperately needed a momentum change. I got an interference call while on the power play. I think Gouli would be a great fit. We saw him do very well on the second power play in recent games. I mean, he looked like a natural out there. Just some kind of switch up is needed. Something, because these lineups are just not working. We saw even Jonathan Drouin on the first power play tonight for a little while. And also, I'm sick of seeing Mike Hoffman out there. I mean, I know we got to pay the guy. We signed him to a big contract, but I'm done with this guy. Like, we spoke a bit positive about him in the last couple of recaps. He was hustling, hitting people, but man, some of his plays just seem brain dead to me. I mean, I know, look, I'm not an NHL player. Of course not. He is, credit to him. He's a better hockey player than I'll ever be. But on Montreal, like, there was a moment in this game where he had a clear 2-on-1 with him and Jake Evans, and instead of tapping the puck forward and leading it, he just kind of let it go, and we settled for like an Evans shot from above the circle, and you know, his back checking wasn't great there tonight. He just looks like a pylon sometimes. He doesn't really do anything on the power play. Sure, he scored the other night, but I don't know. I don't think you can't send him down to Laval. Do we healthy scratch him at this point? I'm not even sure. You know, this game just got me very, very frustrated. And you know, and Minnesota did a great job of, you know, keeping us at bay, really hounding the puck, and I got a video to show my current frustrations with them. Minnesota! I'm yelling that from the rooftops. Like, I'm just, you know, this was the first time I felt angry watching Montreal this season, and it was at the hands of Minnesota. I mean, as I've mentioned before, I love the Minnesota Wild, but, you know, as a Habs fan at heart, it was just frustrating to see them just hardly get any momentum this game at all. But, Jesse, I think we've spoken so much about these negatives. We really need to get in some of the positives. Cole Caufield, I'm going to play the explosion on the screen. Cole Caufield snipes his 5th of the season. He's on pace for 50 goals. That beautiful knuckle puck. It wasn't a snipe, let's be honest, but it fooled Fleury. And if a shot fools the goalie, I mean, I think that can be a snipe. What do you think?
He banked it. He banked it off the defender's stick. You know, he totally called it, you know. Yeah, no, that's it. It was, you know, Caufield's looking dangerous all the same. It's nice to see. I think we're on that 50-goal watch. I think it's very much an effect. You know, we're not just blowing smoke anymore. Like, you know, it's every game he's showing up. He could very well get there for sure. But, you know, Caufield aside, you know, Fleury was good tonight, even though he doesn't have the best goals against average coming into this game. This was his 944th game in the NHL tonight. So yeah, so that's it. So that actually makes him, I believe, the 6th goalie to play the most games. So I mean, you know, hats off to Marc-Andre Fleury all the same. We've seen him do some amazing things with the Penguins in the past, winning cups and everything. So you know, all respect to him for that and everything like that. But I mean, his counterpart Allen wasn't bad tonight either. You know, he kept us in the game for large parts of it, you know, being steady when he has to. So I think that's definitely a bright spot on the season so far, is that Allen looks in the zone.
For sure. I mean, I saw some Habs reporters tweet that may have been Allen's greatest game of the season, in their opinion. I thought his game against Detroit may have been a bit better, but honestly, though, I don't know. A case could be made for this game, especially with some of the amazing saves in tight, like with Kirill Kaprizov creating at the level that he can. Like, earlier on in the game, there was a power play sometime in the second period, I believe, where Kaprizov went down to the goal line and he faked going behind the net, almost lost a Montreal defender, and then passed it right back into the slot for Matt Boldy, who couldn't quite get a stick on it thanks to some good Montreal defense. But later in the game, when that shot caught Caden Gooley up high in the ear, the one that sent him to the dressing room with a bloody ear, Kaprizov got it right on the doorstep, and Allen instinctively stuck his leg out with absolute game-saving save. Like, if Montreal had scored with the empty net, that would have been the turning point of the game, and it almost was anyway. I thought Jake Allen was stellar tonight. He has been maybe Montreal's most solid player game in and game out this season. He didn't have his brightest moment against Dallas the other night when Joe Pavelski got his hat trick, but he has just been so reliable in most games. And yes, credit to Fleury, but I was very, very happy with Allen tonight, and Caufield, like I mentioned. And not only did Caufield score, by the way, I don't know if you caught this, but there was a moment late in the game when Minnesota was up 2-1. Kaprizov would have had a tap in on the doorstep, and this is the second or third time we've seen this in 2 or 3 games. Caufield ties the stick up extremely well and clears the puck to the corner. So I just wanted to point that out because I thought both of those guys were bright spots tonight, while the rest of the team just felt like they didn't show up.
Yeah, no, we're not having the best luck against the Minnesota Wild. I believe it's the last 13 out of 14 games that we've lost against them. So they definitely just got our number. I'm not a betting man, but we're definitely going to have to switch that around in the future for sure. But I don't know about you, Josh, but I was really missing our boy Uri tonight off the ice. What was your thoughts of not having him in the lineup?
You know, I'm a little upset we all want to have him back. That wrist injury, who knows? Montreal's been pretty tight-lipped about all this. But, like we've been saying, we want some changes on the power play. So, who's to say that he can't slot? We want a big body in front of the net. I don't want him reduced to just that screening role, but I mean, any change is welcome at this point. I really, really want to see him back, and I really want to see him slot in on the power play before he gets sent down to Laval, if he gets sent down. Which, as I said, my theory is that he's not going to get sent down to Laval this season. I'm sticking to that. I think Montreal keeps him the full season. Do I think it's the right choice? I don't know. But I'm sticking to that take. And you can come back to this video if I'm wrong, but I truly believe they'll keep him on the roster through the season.
Yeah, we're missing him out here. Like, not having him play in these last couple of games, to just realize how much we kind of miss him, that he does bring something to the ice. He's looking, he's trying. So when he's not out there, it's definitely noticeable. And we're seeing how he's playing a lot better than many other players on the Habs roster. So I believe until that's not the case, then, there very much is a case for him staying in the NHL.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he's missed out there. I think just the energy, and honestly the energy the crowd gets when Uri steps onto the ice just really sparks Montreal. And it was well missed as Montreal lost this close game. I mean, I'm just frustrated. I don't really have much more to say about this game. I thought some guys played well. Another guy I wanted to mention is Sean Monahan. I thought he just had another solid game. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too detrimental, but turnovers killed us. Young defenders made some clutch mistakes tonight. Don't really know what else there is to say. I think just come back, be ready to go for their next game. Do you have anything else to add, Jesse?
You got it, Josh. No, just come back for the next one, ready to go.
All right, well, that's it for this game recap for October 25th. Again, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to be posting daily Montreal Canadiens content. Share with friends, family, whoever you think might enjoy. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next video.